Hey everybody, and welcome back to an episode of
Toxic Reddit.
Here's how this goes down. We get to hit the metaphorical banhammer. That's right. In we go. Am I the asshole for asking my husband permission to cheat and refusing to accept no for an answer, then getting mad after he kicked me out? My 51 female, soon-to-be ex-husband, 54 male, and I have been married for 22 years. God damn, 22 years. That's a long time. Good for you guys. I recently was diagnosed with uterine cancer, so I had a hysterectomy and I'm feeling much better. Better than better. I have a whole new lease on life. I've promised myself that from now on, I'm going to live life to the fullest. My husband, of course, was fully on board. What do people do when they say live life to the fullest? Like, what does that mean? When you hear people say, like, they're living life to the fullest, basically what they're talking about is, like, now they're doing all these dangerous things that they weren't doing before, like bungee jumping and, like, I don't know, sailing sharks. What was that joke? We went on a bunch of expensive vacations and are planning more expensive vacations for later in the year. I've taken up yoga, swimming. Yoga's not living life to the fullest. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. And learning how to cook healthier meals so I look as sexy as possible. There's a man at my work whom I've had a crush on for some time now. He's short, fat, and bald, which I never thought would turn me on until I met him. Who else do we know that's short, fat, and bald, and who's an absolute smoke show? That's right. He's leaving to take a job at another company. I would really love to have sex with him just once before he leaves. Since I don't have a uterus because hysterectomy, I wouldn't have to worry about getting knocked up. Yes, I know I'm kind of old to get knocked up, even if I still had a uterus. But now I don't have to worry about it at all. Most people would just use protection. You had uterine surgery. I suppose that counts as living life to the fullest. I told this all to my husband and asked him for a hall pass so that I could f*** my soon-to-be former coworker. Hey, how does a conversation like that go?
Hey, honey, there's this really short, fat, bald guy at work that I've always wanted to f***. And, hey, I had cancer, so can I fuck him?
How do you respond to that? Right, think about the situation you're putting your husband into there. I told him he could say no. Good, I'm glad he had your permission. But I'd be mad and disappointed at him for an indeterminate amount of time, and basically it would confirm that he's an insecure, toxically masculine man.
What?
He said no, and I told him I'm not accepting no for an answer. What are we reading? I told him I hoped he would be there when I got back, and I'd be glad to answer any questions he might have once my coworker and I have done the deed. But not now, because all he would do is dwell and obsess about it, because it would be too real. Like, maybe there's something in the story that's going to help us. Like maybe see it more from her point of view. But like, she had cancer, lived, and now she feels that because she's living life to the fullest, that means she has agency to go f*** another dude. Even with the expressed denial of her husband. I felt like the less he knew, the better. That's so kind of you. And all he'd be doing would be making mountains out of molehills, even though the molehills are actually other mountains. He didn't react well at all to this, but I didn't give a shit. Wow, so glad the person that stood by you during cancer just doesn't matter to you. The next morning, I booked a hotel near the club where my coworkers and I were having a party send-off for my crush. The party was a lot of fun. When it was over, we all said our goodbyes, and my crush and I walked to our hotel room where we said goodbye to each other in the best possible way, if you know what I mean. The sex was amazing. All the work I put into achieving my new bikini body definitely paid off. As I said before, he's rather short. But not down there. Oh, baby. Man's packing the $5 footlong. He's gonna take it to Flavortown, right? Yeah, he gets it. I came home the next morning to find the door to my master bedroom locked, my belongings moved to the spare bedroom, and a note from my husband saying, "Congratulations on ruining your 20-year marriage in order to f*** some short, fat, bald guy. We're really picking on this bald guy, whom I've never seen before, yet you said you had a crush on. Yes, I followed you to the club, then the hotel. Creepy much? Creepy much? What? But then decided to turn around and go back home. I have an appointment with a lawyer whom my friend recommended. So it's about to get real. It's about to get real. If you don't think we're getting divorced, think again. Now take your stuff and get the f*** out of my house. This man is based as f***. He hit her with the... we don't even have to decide. We don't even have to judge what's going to happen here. He already hit her with the banhammer. She's banned from the house. I, of course, did the exact opposite and stayed in the house. Of course. Of course you did, darling. Of course you did. Tried calling him several times, but he didn't answer and eventually blocked me. He got home around 9. We argued, and apparently he recorded the whole thing. The next morning, he said that he was tired of me doing all the talking for us over the past week.
What the f***?
does that even mean?
And that when he gets home from work, I'd better be gone. So now I'm homeless. I honestly wasn't intending to ruin my life, let alone my marriage. I just wanted to have some fun because YOLO, right? F everybody, YOLO. That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. And not only that, but YOLO died in like 17? Who says YOLO anymore?
YOLO! I'll fucking do it again.
If you have said YOLO in the past year, leave a comment down below. I really want to know what type of people are YOLOing. So, am I the asshole for cheating on my husband? Yes, but let's get to some comments. SlimFox22 says, yo, I'm fat and bald. My man has his priorities exactly where they need to be. See, we've all been dieting and hitting the gym and trying to look healthier, but actually all you ever needed to do to get laid was to order up some Domino's and, you know, a jar of peanut butter. Peanut butter has so many calories. So wow, of all the stories I've read, this was one of them. Am I the asshole for cheating on my wife? I mean, most likely, yeah. See, it's funny because like when situations like this happen, people like to type out a lot of context, but at the end, it's like justifying cheating. So I want to see if this is what's going to happen in this story. And I have like a 90% accuracy rate with this. So let's see. First of all, I know I'm not perfect, but please hear me out. I don't know where to start, so I'll just get the elephant in the room out of the way. I, 29 male, have been cheating on my wife, 31 female, for a little over a year now with another woman, 20 female, that I think I love. My wife and I, me and my wife, met in college. I think that's high school in America. It's not. And dated for about 2 years before I proposed. Things were smooth for almost a year before my wife seemed to change. She was constantly rude, nagging at me for anything, and making belittling comments. I began to spend more time at work avoiding her constant negativity. She was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder and bipolar disorder. God damn, she has the whole cocktail. Still, I was sure we'd work through it, so I stayed with her. I believed I still loved her. 2 years after her diagnosis, my dad died in a car crash. While I was distraught, I couldn't help but notice that my wife seemed almost glad. She'd never mentioned an issue with my parents, but anytime I seemed sad about it, she'd say something like, it's for the best. Holy shit. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm starting to have some doubts here. My brother took his loss harder than I did and turned to alcohol. As a favor, I took him in when his landlord turned him out. I work a lot, but my wife owns her own business and works from home. I wrongly assumed that I could leave the two of them alone together, but while I was away, they would have sex. Ooh. Okay. All right. I think I got this one wrong. I found this out from a neighbor who would walk in on them when asking for a parcel. How do you just walk into you just burst into their house? Hey neighbor, you got my fucking package? I also found out later he'd been stealing from us as well. As any sane person would do, I kicked him out of my home. I tried to file for a divorce, but my wife went through an awful depressive episode lasting a month. I dropped the ideas about a divorce. It must have been all the penis she was taking. For a while, things seemed to go back to how they were when I was 20. Things were going great at work. I was climbing the ranks. We just moved into a new house closer to my work. My wife had begun branching out and now owned 2 or 3 shops in the city. She was on a new medication that made her much more pleasant. Our sex life was great. And then we found out she was having a baby. You know where this is going. I was ecstatic. I love kids. My wife and I had always wanted a kid, but every time we tried, it hadn't worked. Soon enough, our son was born. Over the course of his first couple of months, I began to have doubts that he was really my son. Told you. I put this off as first kid worries or whatever and continued with my life. Until one evening, my wife sat me down and told me that the kid was my brother's. Her reasons were that she knew I'd always wanted a kid and that our DNA was too close for it to make a difference. Never mind the fact that meant she was sleeping with my brother again. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Wow, she went back for fucking seconds. Again, I distanced myself. I tried to file for a divorce once again, but my wife returned to her depressive state, so once again I dropped it. One night after an argument, I left the house with no intention of going anywhere and ended up in a bar. I got talking to a girl and we had a one-night stand. Seems fair. His life's going swimmingly, so hey, might as well put the cherry on top. Couldn't help but think of my wife the whole time, and yet, a week later, I slept with her again. She told me things about herself. She was living with her cousin, she worked 2 jobs to put herself through uni. She felt like she was alone in the world. The classic lines. We're getting all the classic lines here. Our one-night stand became a whole relationship, and I realized that I was cheating on my wife. What do you mean you realized it? What, the second you go out and end up naked in a room with someone else, that's when the realization should hit. How do you realize it like weeks later? Like, oh gosh, I think I'm cheating on my wife. God. It became a lot easier when I made her my secretary. I don't want to explain many details about our relationship. She was by no means at fault. I didn't tell her I had a wife until a month or so before I gave her the job, which then makes it her fault. What are we talking about here? I didn't tell her about my son until our first argument. I was spending a lot more time at work. Yeah, I bet. And my wife began getting suspicious. She stopped taking her meds, telling me they clouded her thoughts, and refused to speak with her psychiatrist. Still, she doesn't know about the other woman. Really, I know I'm at fault for a lot of this, and a tragic backstory or whatever doesn't let me off. But I really do think I'm in love with the woman I'm cheating with and don't know what to do. Okay. Uncle Rory's gonna help you out here. Here's what you do. Leave your marriage. You're not happy. You haven't been happy. Your son is not your son. Your wife is f***ing your brother. What are we doing here? And just to drive the point home, let's get to some comments. Guy writes 15 paragraphs just to justify cheating. Fair enough. You're the asshole for cheating instead of leaving. I don't know. In this, I would abide by the subs rules and say everybody sucks here, because that's an option, right? Everybody can be the asshole. I feel like this is just a validation post and everybody sucks here. If you're unhappy, then leave. Yeah, what they said. Everybody sucks here. If she's cheating, it doesn't give you a free pass unless you've converted to an open relationship, which you obviously haven't. Yeah, you know, the thing that just continually makes me go like, what? Is like, she's actively cheating and you just discovered your child is not your child and you haven't left yet. Honestly, man, you kind of deserve a lot of what's happening to you. So this was our batch of stories for today. Scandalous, smelly, dirty cheating. Let me know what you guys thought. Did I pass judgment fairly? Do you agree with everything I said? I'm going to leave links to stories down below in the description. I hope you guys enjoy. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.